The local one is, this is Little Wing Pizza. If I was, I do a lot of talks to the coffee shop market. One of the big issues that I talk about is the fact that people these days are lovely. We have all of those focal points within the community are now going or gone. We shut 4 pubs per day in the UK. The local, people go to church much less. They're much less involved in church activities. And they also, not even that local sort of post office thing is going. We've lost all our sub-post offices. So all of those community aspects that we used to have 20, 30, 40 years ago, not all of them, but a lot of them are going. It's a huge opportunity for coffee shops to drop into that. It's a huge opportunity for small local restaurants too. It's an opportunity for all businesses to an extent, because over and above the fact that we've lost all of those focal points, people are now working in all sorts of disparate ways and moving all around the countryside in a way that we never did before. So that you get people with no focal point of the new community that they've moved into, and also being moved a lot more. So Facebook, all of these social media things are very, very beneficial in terms of you engaging with these lonely people and thinking, we're good guys, we're this local business. Works very well for food businesses, but it can work well for other things too. And, this is what we do. So what you find is here, Little Wing Pizzeria, we are now open in Ballyhackamore. Come on down and give us a go. 13 people bothered their backside to click that they like that. That's a bizarre thing to do. We like the fact that you've opened another business. They only have, they don't have as many as Dan. They've got 1,000 people are in their page. So that's a reasonable amount of people bothering to say, yes, that's a good thing, that's a great thing that we want to be. They're sort of saying, well done for opening a business in our local area. They engage extremely well. We have a yummy new pasta dish in our menu, penne, blah, 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 blah. It's just a soft thing. 9 people like this. This is a poem about pizza. So it's very, very good, clever, pleasant use of social media. And then every so often, there's people just engaging with that as well and making up their own wee poems. That stuff goes on all the time. They use it very, very well. But they're engaging with those people in that community in a sort of a little tiny local restaurant way. They're doing that neighborhood Italian restaurant thing as they grow into a bigger chain. Very powerful. So where are we? This is a very quick example of a company in San Francisco sort of area called Koji Barbecue. And they only promote, they've got 64,500 followers. They only promote, they're a taco truck. So they don't have a shop in a street. They only promote their business and where they're going to be through Twitter. So here are the places that they're going to be in that day. So all of the customers, and it was ridiculous when they started this up. People would be running to get into the queue whenever they released it on Twitter as to where they were going to be. So you have these huge lines down and around the corner as to where they're going to be for that day. People take pictures of that. Obviously, then that shifts onto their local traditional press, because that's a great story for the traditional press. Local company just gets lying around the corner by not even letting. That's a brilliant story. It's a brilliant story for anybody. It's the sort of story that newspapers want over and above, standard PR stories, which are, 5 guys in a suit and we've won the award for best export to this, or we've got ourselves a new personnel director. They hate those stories, but they love that kind of story. Incredibly successful business. So that's that one. Coffee Grounds is a Houston-based coffee company, and what they did was, early on in the Twitter stages, a guy tweeted to them, I have to get back for the gas man in half an hour, something like that, and can you make me up a thing, whatever it was, breakfast burrito or something. And they thought, well, that's interesting, we've got an order through Twitter. So they went back and said, yes, what topping do you want on it, or whatever it was. The guy comes in and they collect it. They have spun the PR off that absolutely senses. They have doubled their sales within literally 2 or 3 weeks of doing that. That's Twitter's page. Twitter have used them as an example of how to use Twitter well. They use all sorts of other social media as well, but they're very, very good at engaging with the customer. So I start this whole talk by saying, here's a specific thing that I do. My outcome is money. Social media, if you play it cleverly, can be broader than that. But you do need to be very, very careful as to try and understand what it is that your outcome is. That's turned straight into money too. But what they did, that very clever thing was that they managed to twist the two things together. If I go to this, first of all, they managed to twist PR off their Twitter use, and they've Facebook and they've blogs. They're using a lot of those different factors. So I think the point that I'm trying to say is you need to try and get as many legs as it were. I know that's a different thing. I talk about, legs coupled with, tributaries of the Nile, but really as many marketing legs to support your business as you possibly can. And always think of what actually the customer generally wants to be doing out there. Most people use the internet not to go on and necessarily buy something. What they do is they sit there, first of all, they go on for information, potentially about something to buy. But very few people run to the computer with their credit card. And very few people actually, when they are looking at buying something, they'll sort of be telling themselves that usual guff that we all tell ourselves, I'm not really going to buy it today. So they're going for information, first of all, and they're going for interaction. The social media is a very, very good way to try and push them towards the purchase through the interaction, because that's what people want to do. And they also want the information. Lots of people sit in front of the TV and use the internet like that. They do not sit there with their credit card in their hand waiting to go in. So what you're trying to do is to get them out of that big slump that they're in front of the television, watching EastEnders, and shock them out of that so that they can then, buy something from you. Now, if you are not getting hold of their email address, and they happen to be in that mode when they come across your website, they are just going to click on to the next thing and the next thing because it's too much hassle. If you've got their email address, you can keep at them. Whereas actually, the tiny, tiny fraction of people coming to your website will actually buy something on that first occasion. So your first goal, in my opinion anyway, is to get the email address, build up the rapport slowly and gently, and then flog them at the end of the day. So that's me.